Mate, I don't know how I'm standing right now. I feel like I just released all of the fluid in my body. Is that even possible? Water.
Oh, thank God. You sound like you're back to normal.
Normal? What are you talking about?
You're kidding, right?
What? No, I have no idea what you're on about.
Seriously. So you have no recollection of speaking absolute gibberish less than 20 minutes ago?
Nope. Not a thing.
Really? Nothing. I thought you were possessed by a bogan demon the way you were speaking.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, man. I guess that slash did the trick.
Looks like there is still something lingering in there. What the fuck was that?
I have no idea.
Is it coming from your vault?
No, it couldn't be. There's nothing like that down there.
You didn't know about Elsa.
Fair point. I think it's coming from the bathroom. Come on.
Shit, I think you're right.
What is that? Are you seeing this red light?
Unfortunately, I am. Is somebody shooting a retro porno in there?
Fuck!
Holy shit! Is that a fucking gator?
How did I not notice that before? I was just in there. That's a croc, by the way.
Oh god, it's getting closer. Wait, how can you tell?
Whoa! There's actually a few defining features that allow us to tell them apart. The major giveaway is the shape of the jaw. A croc has a more pointed jaw when compared to an alligator. Ah, shit!
What are we gonna do? Do we play dead? Do we make ourselves look bigger? Should I give it my wallet?
I don't know, man. My reptile knowledge begins and ends with how to tell a crocodile and an alligator apart.
Well, at least we won't die confused.
I wish that would bring me some comfort. Elsa!
I knew you'd come back.
Damn, she's got it on a death roll. I wonder if crocodiles understand irony. I think she killed it.
Yeah, she did. My savior once again. I'm so happy to see you.
What the fuck just happened? Elsa, I love you. But the door is there for a reason. Oh my god, there's gyprock everywhere. Oh, that's just great. The studs are fucking buggered. Oh, fuck. Yeah, no, I didn't want that couch. That's fine. Oh, fuck. The vacuum's broken. How the fuck am I gonna get rid of this? Oh, Elsa!
Boo. Welcome to Into the Minds of Madness. I'm your scaredy cat, Paul McWhirter. Sitting next to me is my big tough man, Mr. Chris Dicker. How are you, man?
Very well, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, good. Well, we just sat and watched a movie. Another one.
Another movie. Ticked off the list.
Yeah.
We've just witnessed Tobe Hooper's Eaten Alive.
That is a very good way to put it.
Yeah.
I wasn't watching that. I did feel like I was witnessing something.
No,
yeah.
it just kind of happened.
Mm.
We
Yeah.
sit here for an hour and a half and just take it all in. But before we dive into it, I deliberately put this movie on the list as a test. This is your first test of many.
Okay.
Right. This was a test.
It's exciting.
To see how much shit you could tolerate. Because this is a pretty bad movie in the best way possible.
Yeah.
It is just fucking batshit.
It is ridiculous. I don't know if I enjoyed it. I don't think I enjoyed the movie, but I enjoyed watching it just because it's so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's the moments that carry you through it.
Yeah. Well, give us a rundown of what we just saw. Just give us a synopsis and.
So, Eaten Alive is the goings on of a night at the Starlight Hotel, which is, from what I gather, is down like south or something like that.
Yeah, it
Everyone's
seemed
got-
like Tennessee. I know he mentioned Florida at one point.
He
but
did?
Yeah,
Alright,
but I'm
yeah.
not sure. I'm not
'Cause
sure.
everyone's
It's in the bayous.
He's in the bayou. Everyone's got that thick accent.
That drawl.
That
yeah,
drawl, yeah.
very much so.
And Judd is the, what do you call a guy who takes runs a hotel? Hotelier? That's not a word.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess he's the proprietor of that business.
That's the right one. I like that. Yeah, Judd runs it. Old Judd.
Old Judd.
And yeah, old Judd is a bit unstable, if you will.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah.
Talks to himself a lot.
We'll delve into Judd very soon because I really enjoy Judd. But yeah, he takes in some people to spend the night, and yeah, they don't leave the hotel.
All hell breaks loose, pretty much. Thanks
Pretty
to
much.
Judd and his nutcasedness.
His trusty scythe and old Croc.
Yes. I wish he'd given the croc a name though at one point.
Yeah, it was just Croc.
Yeah, he just kept calling it the croc. Well, I guess it's not like he had a real proper relationship with it, but
There's a love-hate thing going on there.
yeah, he got really excited when the croc would start eating somebody. But
Yeah, let's dive headfirst into the kills because I wanted to bring
Yeah.
up something about that.
okay, so to begin with, the first person who gets killed is the prostitute. He gets kicked out of Miss Hattie's down the
Ooh,
road.
Yes, at Miss Hattie's.
He seems nice enough to her until he goes, "You're one of Miss Hattie's girls," and just
Yeah, he kind of just he is normal and very nice to people in his jittery kind of hermit kind of way.
yeah.
But then it's like something happens, something switches in him.
And he just explodes and
Yeah.
just starts talking to himself, and then just decides, "Well, you're not going to live."
Yeah, and with our first one, realizing that she's one of Miss Hattie's girl, he just starts trying to.
He just pitchforks her.
Well, first tries. He
ch-
tries to.
See, I keep putting this out of my mind. Okay, so
yeah.
there is a lot of sexual assault in it, like sexual assault style stuff in this. It opens with Robert Englund undoing his zipper
Yes.
because he's about to have sex with this woman who's at Miss Hattie's.
Yes, our first victim.
Yeah, and it starts off. There's just a lot of weird, just men trying to rip clothes off women, and
This is a hard movie to talk about.
it is, yeah.
It's just so all over the place. But you just mentioned Robert Englund.
Yeah.
The whole reason I bought this movie was just because, one, it's Tobe Hooper's second film and no one talks about it. I've heard nothing but
Okay.
bad, so I was like, alright, instantly I'm intrigued. And then I saw that this is, I don't think it's his first, but it's his earliest horror appearance. This is pre-Freddy Krueger, which I was, super into, very happy. And when I finally watched it, a moment occurred to me. The first lines uttered in this film are from Robert Englund. My name is Buck, and I'm ready to fuck. I think we've heard that somewhere before. Have you heard it in a certain Quentin Tarantino film?
Possibly.
Could be one called Kill Bill.
Possibly.
I wonder if I hope he's paid like a little nod to that. Like he said, I know. Just gotta get that out of my way.
Yeah.
Just gotta get that out of the way. I hate it when I find out someone's stolen something from like an old movie.
Yeah. So the first thing we see right at the start is pretty much our mate Robert Englund
Yes.
in the very first scene. The very first scene you see is literally him undoing his
We
undoing
get
his zipper.
a close-up shot of his crotch and his belt buckle.
Yes. And that weird kind of double exposure thing with her sitting on the bed
Yeah.
wearing just a very sheer top that you can obviously see her breast through.
There's no.
No,
nothing
yeah,
left for
and
imagination
so it just ramps up straight away.
It does.
She's like, "Let's just get this over with," and he's like, "Well, I paid for the hour."
Well, yeah, he's like, I've got a surprise for you.
And so straight away just kicks straight into some sexual assault.
Yeah,
like
that's a crazy way to start a movie.
it is. It's very strange.
That's a way to get push people away. I feel like.
Yeah, exactly.
Certain people like myself who seek this sort of stuff like just to witness these weird movies, we're into that. But other people, like, if you go to the drive-in back in 1976, you probably what the fuck am I watching?
Just drive the fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just really strange. And then, so nothing goes well there. She leaves Miss Hattie's, which is who is the proprietor of that business.
Miss Hattie, why you mention it?
Oh yeah, let's talk about Miss Hattie quickly.
What's going on there? Like, she's supposed to be old Miss Hattie, but I feel like she's a 40-year-old woman covered in really strange, like, latex paint.
Yeah, and we see her twice in this movie.
Yes.
First time we see her, it looked brown. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? But because of the weird lighting, and then you see her again, it's just like, it just looks grey.
Yeah, she looks
like,
dead.
It looks like plaster on her face.
Like
it looks horrendous.
Any sort of, like, facial movement with her lips, like, it all crinkled up and bubbled, and couldn't they find an older actress? Like,
it makes no sense.
It was really strange.
Or maybe just all the older actresses were just too prudish to like act as a madame in a brothel.
That's true. That's a fair point. Yeah,
which could be, but it's still like you could at least have found like a, just an old looking 40-year-old, or they just set on having that woman play that role.
Put a grey wig on her. Done.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of wigs in this movie.
Yeah,
like, just put a grey one on her.
It makes no sense.
Very strange choice.
Makes no sense. So she escapes Miss Hattie's after that horrible experience. And heads down the road to the Starlight Hotel.
Yep, she wanders into the Starlight Hotel. It's a very interesting choice of decor. Like,
yeah, I mean, he's got a pet monkey there as well. I don't know where that comes in. Yeah, there is a zoo, but he's got a pet monkey outside his house and the croc in the lake.
I think that's the majority of his zoo.
And that's pretty much it.
Even though he's got one thing I found funny, he's got a sign that says zoo, but the arrow is pointing the wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where does it go?
I feel like the croc and the monkey are just like a little tease, and then you go to the zoo and pay for the
That's
zoo.
how they get you, and you hear
Yeah.
the growl of the croc and the bark of the monkey, and you're like, ooh, what's this place? I'm
Yeah.
going to go check out this zoo.
Yeah.
Forget Taronga. Don't need none of that fancy stuff.
Yeah.
Give me an old hotel.
So she escapes there. She, unfortunately, isn't there for very long until... He's being really nice. Old Judd is just being really nice to her to begin with.
Yeah, this is the first moment we're introduced to Judd. What's the word? Protagonist? I don't know.
Yeah, but antagonist.
Antagonist, yeah. I always get those two confused. Left, right. Okay. Yeah, so we meet Judd, and yeah, as you said, he's acting nice. He's like a little hermit. He's like this weird little boy old man who doesn't know how to still interact with a pretty woman. And
like with people in general.
With people in general, but as soon as there's a bit of
flesh. Yeah, actually, yeah, I guess, yeah, no, with women, he's like kind of stumbling over himself, but he seems very put off by men as well.
Yeah.
So he's always kind of he's very antagonistic towards men, and with women, he just like he starts stumbling over words, then he notices something about them and just attacks them.
He's attracted to it, and then it's like animal instinct just takes over, and he can't control himself. He just like, I want to have sex with that right now. Like,
yeah, and because he can't, he ends up just killing them.
Yeah, out of frustration, he just kills people.
It's ridiculous.
This happens I've noticed with a lot of these B movies.
Yeah,
there's always there's a gem, there's a pearl that is hidden under all the ridiculous lighting and bad accents and all that.
And the maelstrom of sexual assault, just like over the top. I do feel like a lot of 70s movies have a real problem with women. Well, like a lot of horror movies in general.
Definitely.
It's really strange.
But Judd is he's the pearl because he's such an interesting person. If you look at it, like it's those quiet moments where you see him by himself.
When he's talking to himself,
he's singing a song and writing a song to himself.
Yeah, it's just
it's unsettling as all hell. But that's what brought me through this movie was watching Judd be Judd, and him. You're watching a man. I feel he's absolutely batshit crazy, but I feel like that's PTSD. Like that's a remnant of PTSD because he is It's led on that he was a World War II veteran, even though he doesn't look it.
Yeah, and he doesn't really say it. Do they? Does anybody actually say that? I didn't notice that.
He rambles on about the military and being like trained and stuff like that. He goes on about rules a lot.
Yeah, I get. Well, because like I just don't feel like I ever heard it said.
Well, I don't know if it was World War II, but he's still he's a vet of sorts.
Yeah, well, but that's the other thing. When you see that he's lost his leg, that he's got a wooden leg after the husband shoots him, I thought he would have lost his leg at war, but no, the croc bit it off.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's,
like,
what a weird...
which is what confused me. Like, I was like, oh, was he in the war?
Well,
but I just don't feel like it was really properly alluded to at all.
No, not at all. But that's what like adds to the unsettling tone of the movie, is because you can't pick what's actually. You can't pick what Judd's about to do. What is he actually thinking? Is that true that he was in he was one moment he was rambling about being trained in the army and being a soldier, and you got to stick to the rules, and other people don't stick to the rules, and absolute nonsense. You really don't know who he is, and I just find that really interesting to watch.
Yeah, and I thought it was going to come out that that Buck, Robert Englund's character, was going to end up being like his nephew or something like that. Like there was a family connection somewhere there, and it's just and it's just like, nah, he's just some weird random guy that just pops around. And
actually, now that you've mentioned that, it would have been a perfect choice. That would have been interesting.
Like, and that's why Buck feels like he's entitled to come around all the time and all that stuff.
And do what he wants.
That's what I thought it was going to be, but no, there was nothing like that.
Well, let's talk about Buck. Like, Buck's another interesting kind of character. He's
every time he popped up, it didn't take me out of the movie, but it was just a weird left turn.
Yeah, it was like a break from the unsettling weirdness and
and every time we went to I'm sorry, I'm leading to the Buck scene in the bar, but every time we went to a scene that wasn't in the house, the lighting was great and like you could see everything perfectly, but every time you're at the house, it's either really, really dim, or there's just this really bright red hue going on.
Yeah, it's this disgusting, like, red light.
It made no sense. It made no sense to me.
Made everything feel so uncomfortable. Is it sunset? Is it... But everyone's turning on lights and stuff inside. What is going on?
Yeah. And so, what we get... And then there's... So, when Buck finally...
Well, I'm glad you brought up the bar scene, because that's something I was going to bring up. Like, that moment, you get to really see who Buck is. And there's beforehand, his friend picks a fight with this kind of tall, nerdy-looking bloke, but he ends up, the bloke one-ups him, like gets his arm around his back and hits him against the wall, and the guy's like, "All right, fine, no dice."
Buck's mate's
like, "No dice." But after Buck gets told off by the cop to, pack it in, you're being a dickhead, get out of here. He picks a fight with the smallest bloke in that pub, like that little 16-year-old.
Yeah.
And acting all tough, even the girlfriend's like, "No, what are you doing? You're being a dickhead." And it just shows, and that's why I feel like he wanders in and feels entitled to a Judd place, because he picks on the weak. He's
that's
a coward
true.
who picks on.
And that's the other thing. The dude who was staring at Buck's girlfriend, Lynette, he ends up making his mate go and tell the guy off for staring. Like, Buck doesn't even do it himself.
Yeah, that's it.
That's how much of a wimp he is.
But he talks so much game, and Buck eventually comes to his... I don't know. I was a bit conflicted, actually, when Buck met the croc.
Well, at the end of the day, he went down because he could hear the girl.
He was looking for her. He was trying to save her.
I think that's the other thing. Like, maybe Buck was just, I don't know, just a piece of shit, but trying to hide that he's actually like a scared little boy.
He's like that.
And he's like, "Oh well, if that little girl's scared, I know how she feels."
Yeah,
hey.
I can help.
Yeah,
you mentioned the little girl, and I had to restrain myself from saying it when we kept seeing her under the house.
Yeah.
Was she just going around in circles for half an hour?
Yeah, it felt like it.
What the fuck was she doing?
I don't know. I mean, obviously she wasn't going to be able to get out because he'd locked her in there. And all it was so there was one point when there was pretty much just like a montage where she looked over, saw the croc, and she was like, "Ah!" Then looked and saw the rat, and she was like, "Ah!" And then she kept crawling, and then she noticed the rat was chasing her, and she was like, "Ah!" Yeah, it was just filling in time for screaming.
It's like she was a bit of a goldfish, and I just kept forgetting where she was.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, a rat! Oh my god, another rat!
Yeah, and it's like, but she's just like pounding through just these giant cobwebs too. It's like there's going to be some massive spiders there too.
Yeah.
But I didn't see one of them. Wasn't scared about the spider webs.
I feel like the accurate ending of that movie was them finding her dead from a spider bite. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Or a snake. They're in the fucking swamp, I think.
That's true. Yeah.
It
made no
Maybe that's why she kept moving. There was just like a conga line of dead insects and critters just chasing her.
That would not surprise me.
And that plastic croc at the end was just like,
oh
the
my
cherry
god,
on top, just
that was the best. And it the croc shrunk like maybe 4 sizes.
It was like 3 crocs.
As it was crawling through the underneath the house. Oh, that was awesome.
Was there
and just the way he's just like, oh, I'll just open this tiny little wire fence. Yeah. That like with my scythe.
Because that's been stopping the croc from getting into it.
Yeah. Of course. Oh man. Actually, okay. While we're on the croc, can we talk about Roy, the husband of the woman who gets tied up?
Yes.
The father of I don't think I heard her name. So there was Roy and Angie was the daughter.
Yes.
Can't remember what the mother's name is though. But she's her. So it's her, Angie, and the prostitute's sister who survive at the end. Let's just spoil that for everybody right now.
Boom.
Yeah, done. Boom. There we go.
Because all of you are running home. You've got your copy of Eaten Alive at home.
Yeah. Waiting to watch it. Yeah, you're waiting to watch it. So Roy.
Yes.
Let's talk about how he dies.
Yeah. That was a pretty good fight.
Hold on. Let's
talk about Roy's
lead up
madness.
Yeah. How that happened, I have no idea. So they arrive at this hotel as a family.
Yep, they arrive at the Starlight.
The mother and father are fighting.
Mm-hmm.
They let the dog out of the car, Snoopy.
Yep, Angie's barking away at the fucking dog like, Snoopy, and Snoopy's not doing anything. He's just being Snoopy.
And Snoopy is the weirdest looking thing. Like, I mean, in the best way. Like, that dog is almost too perfect.
Yeah.
Like, its proportions and everything and the way it bounced around, like, it looked like a cartoon. Like, it was crazy. It was so strange.
Before, I felt like it was one of those ones you wind up and it just start flipping and barking.
Yes. Oh, man.
So cute.
There was something so weird about seeing that because it just did not fit.
They're not real, are they?
That dog was too perfect. Let me just say that. So that happens. They're obviously screwing around.
Mm-hmm.
They're fighting. The dog decides to jump through the fence, and of course the croc gets it.
Yep. Poor Snoopy dies.
So of course Angie is screaming her head off, distraught, and because the parents are fighting, it just escalates, and then suddenly Roy just clicks and just goes mad.
Yeah, they're in the quiet moment of the room. Angie's starting to quieten down. Mum's trying to take care of her, and then she gets up and she puts out a cigarette, and he turns to her and it's like, "Oh, I thought you would have used my eye
as an ashtray." Yeah, and then just like, "Oh no, honey, you popped my eye out with that cigarette," and then he starts looking for it on the floor, and he's just like, "Oh, there it is. Oh," and you just come over and squish it.
Yeah,
and she's just like, "Honey, what are you fucking talking about?"
Yeah, he's just gone absolutely insane, and then he's like, he starts barking.
Yeah, just barking.
Like a weird rabid dog.
Yeah, and then decides to get up and walk out, and then just like holds a fist like,
oh my god,
foot
the fist
away from her face, and it's just like, but he kind of like, it's almost like he puts his hand out to grab her, and doesn't do it, and then just like starts curling his fingers up, and just curls them up into just a fist, and just holds it there, and then she looks at him, she's like, "Roy, what are you doing?" Like
I straight away thought is this like a Force thing? Was he trying to choke her out? But
yeah,
Star Wars was what year was Star Wars? 77?
It was the year after.
Yeah, Star Wars 77. So it's not a reference to Star Wars. This guy is just a fucking weirdo.
It made no sense.
I'm gonna hit you by putting my hand. No,
it made no sense. It was almost like why do we need 2 crazy people in this movie? Like, why did that happen? Like, it confused the hell out of me. Anyway, so he decides to go downstairs because he can't handle being in the room anymore or something.
He wants to take out the croc.
That's right. So he goes down with the shotgun.
Yes.
And he's standing there, just waiting for it. This seems to happen a few times in this movie. Someone's standing over the balcony, looking into the bayou.
Yeah.
And there's Judd just appears from the front door and just either pushes them in or like
he always seems
just
to be
attacks
there.
them. Yep.
It's like he's got a little a beep or a bell attached to something. The second someone touches it, like, ooh,
Yeah,
gotta go check
exactly.
it out.
It just makes no sense. And so he goes down, and then Judd approaches him from behind, obviously, and swings at him with his scythe.
Yeah, they have a scythe shotgun fight.
Yeah. So he kind of swipes at him. He hits him. He gets him a couple times in the chest, but Roy shoots him in the leg with his shotgun.
Yes.
Well, we think
thought
it's
it was
the
the
leg.
foot.
We thought it was the foot. It looks like the foot.
If you go back to if you get a chance to watch this movie and pay attention to that scene, they 100% blow his foot off.
Yeah.
Like, there is a squib with no blood in it just popping off his shoe.
Yeah.
But, as we see later on after the scene, he's fine. Like, it's the wrong place altogether.
It's just below his knee.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
Continuity.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, guy. Thank you, continuity person.
But Roy's death though. Like he shot him.
He shot him, and then Roy's just sitting against the
Well, Judd's managed to get a couple of swipes with the scythe in.
Yep, and then
he's got him on the ground.
Yeah, and then gets a good couple of shots in him in the chest.
Yeah, he got the scythe in there.
And he's about to swing at him with the scythe, like for the finishing blow.
Yep.
And the croc just comes straight through the railing and just takes Roy and just takes him in.
Pulls him down.
Yeah, and this is one of those instances where Judd freaks out because the croc's come up. But then as he's watching him die, he's like, yeah, and getting all excited. So it's really... Judd just goes through these moments when the croc comes where he freaks the fuck out for a second. And then suddenly he's just like, yeah, croc, yeah, get him.
You can tell, like, this is my second viewing of it, and I really paid attention to Judd, like, watching his moments when he kills people, and, like, there is a genuine moment, like, it's like Judd disappears, and this other, just anger takes over, and then it's like he has a moment of clarity once he's killed the person, and it's a moment of realizing, fuck, I've done it again.
It's like as he sees a light go out of their eyes, as he's like...
Yeah, like they've hit the water, or they're on the ground, they're bleeding, or something like that. There's that moment of... Well, when Roy hits the water of the croc, he throws the scythe down and freaks out, like he said. But then he kind of comes to again and is like, oh, yeah, fuck yeah. I just killed somebody. It's good. Yeah. Weird guy. I'd never want to stay at the Starlight.
No, that would not be fun.
Yeah, Judd... I got to say, I really enjoyed the actor who played Judd, Neville Brand.
Yeah.
He came from a lot of westerns, like a lot of TV westerns and stuff like that. And I loved his voice. It's so deep.
Yeah.
But as I quickly had a quick little peek at Wikipedia to see who Neville Brand was, and he died of emphysema. So that kind of explains the voice.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Pay the price for that gravelly, amazing voice.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's very strange.
So, who else do we want to talk about? Oh, actually, I want to talk about Tobe Hooper for a second.
Okay, all right.
There's something about... Because this is his second film.
Yes.
This wasn't a film he wrote. This was one... He's writing the success of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
And people want Tobe Hooper. They want to make... It was kind of like making... It was the first of that really grimy style of film, like a horror movie.
Yes,
where it was
okay.
more the gross setting than the actual gore and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so this was an interesting choice for him. And but you can still see whenever it's not his movie, I feel you can always see the little touches that make you like I can recognize a Tobe Hooper film.
Yeah, okay.
And one is the little details of the characters. He always try and fits in a little bit of time for the character, and like Angie, she's got the leg brace. There's a moment of Judd, little girl, around her leg. She's got that.
I didn't even see that.
Fair enough.
Wow, I really didn't notice that.
Man, you're disability blind.
Yeah.
Good man.
Yeah, I did not notice that.
Wow.
I did not notice that. Wow, that's really interesting.
She's got a leg brace. But then there's
Oh no, actually, I lie. I did notice something like when she was crawling through underneath the house. I did notice
that's why
that.
like when she was getting chased by Judd, she couldn't run quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes complete sense.
I was going to say like again another moment of refraining myself.
See, but that's the other thing. When there's a chase scene, I'm just looking at the weapon.
Yeah.
So I'm just terrified of it.
See, we're looking at different things because while you're getting terrified, I'm thinking, oh my god, it's two peg legs having a chase.
Oh man. Oh, that is great. Oh, goodness gracious.
We think differently.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, I was gonna say with a little detail, in Judd's room, he's trying on glasses.
Yes.
Because his pair are broken, and he's not going to go into town and get a new pair.
Yeah.
So he's going to find his victim. He's going to go through his victim's belongings and see if he can find a pair of glasses.
Oh, the fucking Nazi flag too.
You read my mind. But I love that because he's not a, pro-Nazi or anything like that. He's sitting on the flag.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
I'm farting on a new flag.
That's the other thing. Yeah, I did notice. So he's full of contradictions, isn't he? Like, I mean, it's like the Nazi flag's still displayed, but he's sitting on it. Like,
yeah, and it's tattered and gross and stained. And yeah, he's an interesting dude. They're a psychopath who really, really enjoys crocodiles. Any moment that he can talk about a crocodile.
But same thing, he fucking hates that croc and he loves it too. Like,
yeah, he's infatuated by it. But
he's
terrified at the same time.
Yeah.
But,
wow.
But also, you mentioned we both cringe. I'll be honest. I'll be up there and saying I'm not a fan of, a nude scene in a film.
Yeah.
If it helps with the story and go with the pacing and it's shot well,
that's fine.
That's
fine.
fine.
I'm totally fine with it.
But if a woman is just walking into a room with just a camera shot on, face on, no movement, no clever framing, and just getting undressed, that's just filling in minutes. That's boring.
And most of them, they're literally like, well, not quite face on, but they are facing their body is facing the camera, and their head's turned to one side.
Yeah, they're always looking at something else.
They're always looking at something else, and it's so slow. It's so gratuitous. It's just it really is filling in time with tits.
And I honestly think this isn't a Tobe Hooper scene. Okay. I feel like this was the way it's shot is so boring. He always puts in a little bit of effort with the shot. There's always something going on.
Yeah.
This shot is so plain and so boring, and I can't think of a film where he throws in gratuitous nudity. It's not Tobe Hooper.
Yeah.
You don't see in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, there might be a couple of titties, but that's in a moment of, trying to get away from something. It's not someone just standing in front of a camera taking the top off.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was some studio input, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but I guess even though, like, you got to imagine that if there is a boob popping out when somebody's escaping, that's got to be some kind of studio thing too.
Oh, for sure.
Like, it's like we've got to have at least one pair of tits in
that's
this.
It. Good people who do it well, they fit it into the story. You know what I mean? Like they'll fit it in. Like, sure, it's like, oh yeah, there's a pair of titties. Why not? But it's not stopping the movie. It's not putting it to a halt.
Yeah.
And making you watch a person uncomfortably get unchanged. Like,
Yeah, that is true. Like it feels like, especially with this era of movies, it almost feels fucking like voyeuristic. Like it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Like it's like if I'm gonna see like you said, if I'm gonna see boobies in a movie, it better be pretty quick and
or
just
have meaning for it. Like use it for a gag, like something like that, or use it to just. Yeah, not just there.
Yeah,
you've got to fill in 2 minutes. Let's just take a top off.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's 2 minutes. That's how
long
they do it for.
They're so slow.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
No one moves with any urgency in this film.
No. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's talk about this gratuitous shot specifically. So that's the one where she her body's face onto the camera. She gets undressed. She starts hearing all this banging and screaming. And she's like, what's that? Anyway, hangs around for a bit longer, then hears it again. She's like, oh, well, I guess I've better put my clothes back on. And she does it so slowly again.
And like she couldn't care less.
She couldn't care less. And then when she finds her, she's like, oh my God. And it's just like,
she's out of the room, she's moving quickly again.
Yeah. It made no sense.
And like the whole scene was just her getting unchanged, looking at herself in the mirror, then putting her clothes back on, and then leaving the room. Yeah,
she was just walking around in underwear.
Yeah, like
topless with just her underwear on. And that went on for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it just was so unneeded. There was I wrote down there's so many characters or too many characters, and I feel like there was too many characters at a time. Like it just felt like bang, bang. He's another character. He's another.
The sheriff, the prostitute's sister,
Yeah.
the prostitute's father. Oh man, the sheriff.
The father. The father.
Oh, let's talk about how he dies.
His demise is fantastic.
Oh my god, he pretty much gets a scythe through the neck.
Straight
through the neck.
Like you see Judd run up and he takes it down, and like the camera's still fixed on Judd's face, and you see him let go of the scythe.
It's literally just one foul swoop too, as well.
And
Just
it's right
shoom.
dead center. It's hanging. His neck is holding it perfectly.
Yeah,
It's just got this huge scythe whacking around.
yeah, and he follows Judd up the stairs onto the
He
veranda.
does, and like,
Just-
he stands there, kind of doing this awkward like, and Judd's banging on the desk, getting all excited. And he's
Yes.
like, yeah, fuck yeah.
Well, oh no, but same thing. As soon as it goes
yeah,
through
true.
his neck, he lets go of the scythe and goes, oh, "What have I done?"
Yeah, he freaks out, but then
And
he
then-
starts to enjoy
Yeah,
it.
it's pretty much once he gets up the stairs, he's just like, "Oh, you made it up the stairs! Oh my god, this is crazy!
This is fun, this is fun."
Whoa.
And I can't. He
And-
falls in, doesn't he?
No, what happens first is he falls over, where through the balcony kind of railing where Roy where the
Yeah.
croc smashed through for Roy, and he's kind of just sitting there just trying to
Oh,
kind of stay on the veranda. And that's when Judd just kneels down and just starts trying to yank his scythe
That's
out
right,
of his
yeah, he
neck.
wants his scythe back. He doesn't want the croc to have his scythe. That poor bastard.
and then the croc grabs him by the leg, so it's pretty much like a tug of war between so it's Judd, his scythe, Roy, and then the croc. And then he finally yanks his scythe free and just sorry, not Roy, the father.
Yeah, the father, who knows
Sorry,
what
not
his name
Roy.
was.
Yeah, yeah, we never knew what his name was. He was always sweaty.
Always sweaty.
Because apparently he was sick, and we only found that
I
out
have no
after
idea.
he was dead.
Yeah, after he was dead. But I felt like if that scythe scene had been in, like, if they made this movie in the 90s, like, that scene would have been, like, the scythe, like, cutting up the center of his head, and, like, him splitting open like a banana or something like that.
Yeah. Instead of just got stuck in there, which is just perfect.
yanked out.
Which is just fucking perfect.
So good.
So, like, honestly, I wrote this down as we were talking. Like, sometimes in horror, you not only have to suspend disbelief, but also logic.
Yep.
Like,
oh my god, yes, you nailed that.
And that is pretty much with, like, that scythe going through the neck. Like,
that would not doesn't make sense. Like, one, he should be paralyzed, and two, when he was pulling the scythe out, that shouldn't have come out. Like, it shouldn't have come out at all. The way he was
the only way it would have come out is if his head came off first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't even trying to pull it like out like an
No,
angle. He was
no, he's pulling it like through his face.
It's like, come on,
like,
why isn't
via the face, man? Via the face. Like, craziness, just ridiculous. So I want to ask you, what do you think of the freeze frame ending?
I'm a huge fan of a good freeze frame ending.
All right, so
high five freeze frame.
So what happens at the end is so the prostitute's sister who did all the undressing, she goes and saves Angie's mother,
who's been tied up
on the bed.
Yep.
They run downstairs and they find Angie.
Well, at first, Judd meets them at the stairs and takes on Angie's mother, like throws her down the stairs.
That's right. Yeah, throws her down the stairs.
She gets all fucked up.
Yeah.
But the other chick, she just
the prostitute sister bails.
She bails,
and that's when that is literally just after the croc's been let into underneath the house.
Yep,
and Angie's trying to climb back over the fence.
That's it. Yeah.
And gets caught, and that's when this prostitute sister runs out and finds her hanging on it. Tammy, was it?
Sure, that seems appropriate. She looked like.
I think her name was Tammy. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So she's trying to climb over the fence, and she gets caught.
And she's trying to pull her back up.
She's trying to pull her back up, and that's when Judd runs out.
Yep.
And he's trying to shake Angie off the fence.
Yeah, like the mum comes in, and they all have a scream fight, and they just yell at each other.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
Yeah, exactly. And Judd's just trying to shake Angie off the fence, and then Judd's trying too hard and falls in.
Yeah, he just genuinely stacks it.
Yeah, just literally just stacks it. And then the croc grabs him, pulls him in. The sheriff rocks up. Everybody's safe.
The sheriff who could
just
be more blasé about being the sheriff.
Fuck.
He was more interested in taking Tammy
out
to dinner than it was about giving a fuck about anything.
Yeah,
else.
they'd been hanging around each other for at least a few hours,
Mm.
and he took her out to dinner, and then he's just like, hey, you know what? I put an APB out for her right now. It's just like, why don't you do that 3-4 hours ago, dude? Like, what the fuck?
I've been hanging
APB
out
after
with you all
dinner.
day.
Yeah, exactly. Why didn't you do it earlier? What the fuck's wrong with you?
I didn't know how this night was gonna end.
Yeah. And then all we see is like we see a whole lot of blood, and then we just see Judd's wooden leg just pop up.
Pop up.
Freeze frame. Credits.
Love a freeze frame. Bit of synth sting.
No, it wasn't even synth sting.
was
We
that
got to talk about
weird?
that music. It was just pretty much like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star all the time, just like
Yeah.
on like it was.
The
It was
music
and
was-
weird, and just the weirdest sound effects over the top of those little piano plonks.
It was the oddest choice of a soundtrack.
It was so strange.
It was so unsettling and grating. Like it made sense in the kill scenes, but there's other moments like turn that fucking music off.
Yes,
It's so
yeah,
annoying.
they overdid it.
It's like a cheese grater to the ear.
Yeah, exactly. So the last thing I need to ask you before we wrap this one up
Mm-hmm.
is: were you Eli Rothing? Did you froth? Did you Eli Roth?
The first time I watched it, I frothed hard
Yeah.
because I was so excited to finally see it. But it's a medium froth. It's a medium frothing. Like
Okay.
I enjoy it. Others won't, but I enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about yourself? Have you
I-
passed my test?
I don't think I could Eli Roth it.
Wouldn't imagine it.
I couldn't Eli Roth over it, but I handled it like.
Could you tolerate it and say, yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was?
Yeah, the majority of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
The
cool.
majority of it. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For
But
sure.
I have a feeling.
Yeah, for sure.
I have a feeling this may be your first and last time watching Eaten Alive. Maybe.
It may be. It may be.
Fantastic.
I mean, if I was over here and like we were hanging out and or we were together and we were really drunk one time, it's just like, let's check on Eaten Alive. It's just like, oh man, oh dude,
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh.
no, yeah, I wasn't Eli Rothing, but
I would have been
I
genuinely.
enjoyed it for what it was.
I would have been genuinely surprised if you were. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm happy you passed the test, my friend.
Sweet.
This was a very mild test.
That was test number 1.
So yes, I guess this is our first really scary movie that's about to come up.
Oh really?
This is a hard to watch movie.
So what have we got?
We've got Antiviral. This is the debut of David Cronenberg's son. I believe Brandon Cronenberg.
Okay.
Oh, this is body horror. This is fucked up shit. This is good.
All right. I'm a
And
bit worried.
This will be interesting because we're gonna kind of cover body horror ass backwards. We're starting with his son. We should be
Okay.
starting with like Rabbit or Shivers or something like that.
Well,
so
we did start with the sequel, so
Yeah.
that's okay. That's
why
all
not?
right.
That's just how we roll.
Okay, well, I'm actually really scared now that you said that, so I'm going to
should
have
be,
to
man.
build myself up. So, actually, well, maybe next week might be the first time that we release some of the
Yes.
reaction.
Yeah, you don't let you know, but we do record some of our reactions when we watch these movies. So
Just in case I really freak out, just so you guys have got something a little bit bonus.
there's gonna be
This will be the one, man.
This'll be the
This will
one.
be the one.
Nice.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right, I guess we'll see you next week, guys.
Yeah, on that note,
Oh, no. Oh.
rest in horror.
Mm.